And we're back. Sorry everyone for the issues. We had to fix some massive problems on one of our restreamers, and sometimes tech just doesn't cooperate. So now everything is fine. Back to the action. Sorry, Dr. Bob and P-Train. Enjoy the race,
All
everyone.
right. Meanwhile, Wulfy has found Desert Palace and located a small key to pod within it.
Also, Daaanty finding Fire Rod in Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
So that Eastern
Like
play
you said.
is paying off for Daaanty.
Yeah. So like I said, I really like the Eastern play early on, and I like it really late, but I don't like it in the middle. Specifically, I like going in when I have both the big key and the bow, or neither the big key nor the bow. But not one.
So it looks like Daaanty will try to do these dark rooms. With Fire Rod, this should be very easy for him.
Yeah, now, there's nothing that the Fire Rod can actually light in here, but that's not a problem. Ooh, Wulfy finds a bottle in what is normally the sick kid's house. So that's...
Quite poetic.
Yep.
Looks like all these Kakariko houses are in the wrong dimension. We got both the C-shaped house and the brewery.
Yeah. Just 5 rubies in the big key chest of Eastern. I believe the desert entrance that was at the bush house was the right side entrance.
Yes.
And there's the tree pole house at the bomb hut there in Kakariko. Those of you who don't know, you pull Mario's face, it gives you a tree pole. And oh, we've got dungeons all around. We got Skullwoods on the right. We got Ganon's Tower on the left. Ganon's Tower being found at the Kakariko shop. That is some pretty good times.
Yeah, that can be really scary. We've already got a key to GT. So, if we get a hammer and a hook shot or a cane, we already know where the Fire Rod is. So if we get a cane, that could be a tall ask of our runners to make a trip to right side, make a trip to Ice Armors with little to no equipment.
So, go with me on this journey here. So, Daaanty has found the back of Skullwoods at the right side of the chess game. That got, or the race game, excuse me, that got him the boots. Now, Wulfy found GT, and on the torch we see a glove.
Yeah, that's really good for Daaanty. I'm really hoping that Wulfy goes south here because he has a lot still left in Kakariko to check. But if he does that, it's going to put him on the north side of Kakariko. So if he doesn't go down to check these houses now, okay, it looks like he's going to make that decision, so that's good.
Yeah, he comes in here and gets the boots. I imagine he'll, maybe check the entrance which goes to Eastern here, and then, peace out. Oh no, he's going to the Eastern entrance first, so he won't have the advantage of boots, but oh well.
Yeah, he's opting not to go in there, so he'll be a little while without his Fire Rod.
Alright, so Wulfy going to grab the boots here in the back of Skullwoods.
Now both runners are probably hoping for a sword because boots can be very disappointing without a sword.
Oh yeah. I personally sit here and try to dash without a sword, and I'm just like, bonk, oof. Those are technical terms. Now, Daaanty just found a very important entrance. That was the top of Bumper Cave on left side of Desert.
Yeah, and that big key is in logic. The game can require you to do that.
Yeah, which big key was that, by the way? I missed it.
The big key to pod.
We already have a small key as well, so looking pretty interesting for pod, assuming we can find the place.
Yeah, generally I want, like, it's kind of ideal to, if you're gonna dive pod, to have at least 2 small keys, just cause, so then you get to the back, you can do the big chest. If you know the hammer yump, you can do all that stuff as well. But one small key does still open up a lot of items in pod.
Alright, Wulfy picking up that fire rod. As we know, it's going to be here in Eastern. And we'll see where Daaanty decides to go. Daanty's going for the back of escape. Compass of Mire, big 20, and the Moon Pearl. There we go.
So that's an S tier item in entrance. Moon Pearl, the earlier you can get it, the better.
Yeah, I'd say that and the mirror are probably the best 2 items in this game, in Crosskey.
Absolutely. You can also put flute up there. Flute's huge in entrance, just because it keeps you from having to take really annoying connectors. Daaanty freeing the chicken.
And picking up a Compass of Pod. Now, unlike the normal randomizer in the Crosskeys randomizer put together by Amazing Ampros and his team of volunteers, those don't really have anything to do with logic.
Interesting play here. There is a connector right next to where Daaanty was, and with the boots, he can just dash into that wall and check it. But I think he's
If I'm
opting
not
to go
mistaken,
maybe
we found
for
the other end.
small key. Oh, we did.
Yeah, it was in Kakariko Village.
I did not know that. I missed that.
Yeah, I was trying to mention that at one point, and I think I just didn't because I'm dumb. And so, Ether Medallion as the first item in Hera. And once again, both of our runners have that small key to Hera, so we very well might see something important here in the basement.
Bottle can be found alone in a home. I believe that bottle is already accounted for with C-shaped house in Kakariko.
That is quite correct. It does, however, look like Daaanty might not have actually gone to GT.
I don't think he went to Kakariko.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I think he took the desert connector and then save and quit.
Right, he took the connector out of desert. Yeah. He went in there and just never went further west.
I know he death warped in desert. So I don't know, like I know he tried to bunny revive. I don't know if he accidentally saved and quit or what. But it looked like there was an attempt to do something else in desert.
Yeah, I think he might have taken the middle entrance. Alright, Wulfy checking Bonk Rocks. And just a... Okay, so... Tower of Hera has Ether and Quake in it. That's fun.
Wulfy's immediately trying to convert these boots and gloves into some kind of an advantage here, some kind of a useful entrance. Immediately head to that. It looks like Daaanty is making his way to Kakariko to finish up that scouting expedition. But Wulfy finding one of the rupee farming caves, which is useful to know. Cross keys money can be difficult to come by after you do the land.
Yeah, my favorite place to find, of course, in Cross Keys, at least for money purposes, is the archery game. As if you played any inverted, a lot of times that's where you end up getting a lot of your money.
Oh yeah. Wulfy getting his Moon Pearl, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, at this point, I think he's got what, South Shore available to him, and that's about it. Either that, or make your way back to Kakariko and do desert. Oh, he hasn't done Castle yet. He doesn't know what's up here, so he'll find magic bat. But I think that's all of that's really useful up here.
Now, in this seed, as far as money goes, we actually know that the one of the best places to get money is that tier 1 tree pole, which is 80 rupees all around. There we go. Wulfy finally picking up a little bit more health. Certainly nothing wrong with that.
So with this glove, I imagine he's probably going to do South Shore after he checks the Bonk Rocks behind Link's house. And Daaanty confirming that that was, in fact, the big key to Skull Woods that's on the pedestal.
Well then. I mean, that's, as we were saying before, basically the worst hint I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, you have two options. I mean, if you get access to the pedestal through the items you have, you either bank everything on the big key being useful, or you just decide that key doesn't exist. If any progression is behind that key, I'm going to last location.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the whole finding out that the big key to Skull Woods is on there is basically like finding out that the shovel is there or the mushroom is there. It's a fetch quest, and it's gross. Noting, didn't note this before, but we did find one more connector there in the Northwest Snitch House in Kakariko Village. That was the Bumper Cave connector.
So Wulfy is getting his ether. He does have the small key, but he's deciding to Death Warp. I don't know if he's going to go back for the small key or check or not.
Yeah, he is. I figured he was Death Warping so he wouldn't have to hit the switches again, because he's got a limited amount of resources for hitting the switches. Oh, he may not go for that key, though. Or maybe he's just taking a death so he'll have more health. I don't know.
Yeah, he may not have just wanted to. He may have got caught by the fire and just decided to take the Death Warp. I'm not sure.
Seems reasonable. Alright, Daaanty has found Ganon's tower. Is going to pick up that glove off the torch. Ooh, gets a little bit off on that coffee break strat. He's going to have to dodge.
Ooh, this death would be really bad at this point.
Oof.
Oh no! If I was him, I would probably just leave. I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he stays, but at that point, you're just like, no, I gotta go.
So I'm told that if you can dodge a tile, you can dodge a ball.
These sentient tiles.
Or at the very least, heat-seeking tiles. Ah, there is our blacksmith. Oh, the blacksmith was at the bush house. Misery Mire over there at the Northeast Snitch. I saw that earlier. I just neglected to comment on it.
We actually have access to a scary amount of mire right now because we do have the boots and we do have the fire rod.
Ooh, gross.
I would not want to do that right now, but we could.
Now that fire rod lock section, you do actually, by logic, need all the small keys for it, but that's not going to stop anybody I know. Speaking of logic and access, there's Turtle Rock. Oh, we've already seen that, but yeah. And Daaanty is headed south. And he's got the glove, which means he'll be able to clear out all of the entrances down here, which is something you really like to do when you first come down here. Alright, Spectacle Rock, main entrance here. Just 5 rupees. And a joke hint, so garbage all around. Oh, Daaanty going for the hover over the gap. There he goes. Gets it.
I see you, Daaanty. I see you.
And that is literally the Dark World entrance he just came in.
Just connects between the dimensions.
It's just an extra long portal.
So while this isn't the logical way to get here, this technically is in logic because we do have the desert connector to Bumper Cave. And you can walk here from the Bumper Cave ledge.
Yeah. Do you want to walk here from Upper Cave Ledge? No. No, you don't.
There's a journal entry.
Okay. It's like, I literally just checked that. Thank you.
So it'll be interesting to see if Wulfy takes this connector. Usually, I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of taking connectors early in entrance, but you are right next to Link's house. So it is basically, I mean, it's a very quick save and quit. Wulfy's doing the bomb jump.
Very nice.
So he will get this information as well.
Yeah, so as somebody was saying in chat earlier, the whole doing the hover thing or doing the bomb jump thing there, I actually really like that play for the same reason they said, because either way you get to check a connector. Like if you fail, you get to check a different connector. You're still fine. It's the best way it can go. And Wulfy has found Spiral Cave at Swamp Palace. This is a one-way connector containing an item.
Yeah, I probably would hold off on this one.
So yeah, this is one of those connectors that is very controversial. Like you're sitting there like, do I want to do this? Do I really want to do this? It's the same as if you find like the front of Super Bunny Cave. Speaking of Super Bunny Cave, Turtle Rock Small Key, which was also in Super Bunny Cave, as we saw. And that's going to put us out at the Thieves Town entrance.
Yeah, so that's good to know, but not a connector you'll probably ever need to take. Half magic on library. That's really good for Wulfy right now, or really for both of our runners. Just because right now our only reliable weapon, are bombs and fire rod. So we just got an additional 8 shots for our fire rod.
Yep. Basically, you can, go full-on pyromaniac this seed.
Daaanty finding out that the other end of Spectacle Rock spits you out on the Death Mountain ledge, but we can't really do much with that until we get a mirror.
The mirror, of course, as we were saying, one of the top-tier items in the game for Crosskey.
And it looks like Daaanty is making the South Shore play.
And Wulfy has found the left entrance to Hyrule Castle. That is at the Dark Fortune Teller. Meanwhile, at the dam, we find a shovel for Daaanty.
a shovel, and a small key to Misery Mire. Which I'm sure he's thrilled to see, having access to that side of Mire.
I didn't even mention it because it's so irrelevant.
We also have Pod, so we do have a big key and a small key. With one small key in our current setup, we won't be able to get to the big chest. But I've known on more than one occasion for Pod to have a couple of vanilla keys in it.
I mean, in theory, we could get to the big chest. You'd have to potion glitch the right side. Oh, we don't have the hammer.
We don't have the hammer for that, though.
Yeah. Don't have the hammer. I'm a dumb.
He's opting not to use that small key.
Wulfy has found the big key to Ganon's tower in the basement of Hyrule Castle, ladies and gentlemen.
That's both good and bad. That's one key that you hope to never have to need.
Yeah. Though, if I'm going to be clearing out the basement of Ganon's tower, I'd love to have it just because I do not want to have to come back for that chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, and a sword in Zelda Cell. There we go.
That sword is super useful for right now because that's the first non-consumable weapon we've had the entire game. We're 30 minutes into the seed, and we have boots, so sword is really nice to find.
And in super technicality, that's not in logic, but I don't think anyone cares. Now, Wulfy did leave the dark chest from Hyrule Castle sitting there, but I don't really blame him.
Yeah, especially entering Hyrule Castle in the Dark World, all of those enemies have their Dark World properties.
Yeah.
So that would be a very hard Dark Room to navigate.
Yeah. Though the Fire Rod would make it, potentially survivable. Wulfy finds out that our Skull Woods is the worst.
Daaanty is making the Mire play.
Ooh. That is a real, actual play that people can actually make in this game.
Yeah, this is a very bold move, in my opinion.
Ooh. Leaving a Wizrobe alive with no other means of killing them other than a bomb.
Oh, and takes a death.
It looks like while we were paying attention, or while we weren't paying attention, the big key chest of Skull Woods turned out to have the other glove.
Oh, nice. Oh, Recidador dropping some knowledge in chat. Wizrobes don't die to bombs. I did not know that.
I think I remember trying that once or twice and failing. I just thought my timing was off, but maybe it was just, you just literally can't do it. Alright, Wulfy is standing around waiting for a hand to grab him, while Daaanty heads to the Bumper Cave entrance. This is a connector, and it is in fact a two-way connector, so I don't mind taking it, unless of course the other end is sealed off, in which case you're salty. Well, it's not sealed up, but you ain't going anywhere from there.
Yeah, if I was in Daanty's situation, I might have save and quit to Link's house first to get Turtle Rock is right in your back door. So I might have done that and refilled my magic, because right now Daaanty has 4 bombs to defend himself with. And especially if you're traversing around the Dark World, that could be really tough.
Right, so Wulfy found the Ice Rod Cave at the back of Skull Woods, just had 10 arrows in it, so nothing really to write home about, but if you're keeping track of your entrances, that's where that one is. Meanwhile, Mini Moldorm Cave is our restock cave, so if you want some bombs, that's a place to get them.
Yeah, also, this is kind of a random thing, and this sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But I do like the fact that Wulfy is doing the right side of South Shore as opposed to going through the desert area. Because if you find Book here, that's just one extra entrance you can check in the desert area. Very rarely does it work out that way, but when it does, it's cool and you feel smart about it. So I kind of agree with this play.
That's a fair assessment. Meanwhile, we have Spike Cave located for Daaanty. Unfortunately, basically as far out of the way as it normally is. Gonna need a hammer before we can get through there. And meanwhile, Wulfy has found Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, I don't know if Wulfy knows how to hover, but either way, this is still a useful connector, and I would have no problems taking this connector, because this is basically a save and quit moment anyways. And if I'm not mistaken, Hookshot Cave is the only thing of use in this entire area.
Pretty much. Let's see where it takes us. Ah, that is the double connection ledge on East Death Mountain, or East Dark Death Mountain. Unfortunately, no mirrors, so we can't get to Mimic Cave or Spiral Cave entrance. But at least we know where it is.
Yeah, that's really good information to have, but at the same time, he's got to be a little annoyed because it's going to take a long time to get back there once you find mirror. There weren't any connectors in that area. Daaanty needs to be careful with his bombs here. He's got one chance to get this blue guard.
Had me worried for a second there.
So Daaanty right now is completely defenseless. Little does he know, he's about to get a sword.
Yep. Thank goodness for pots, right? Witch's shop, just a normal shop today with someone who looks like the witch's attendant running the thing. And Wulfy's gonna go pick up that sword, or not sword, the shovel and such.
Daaanty also opting to skip out on the dark chest for now.
Alrighty.
So the Village of Outcasts is going to be all new information for Daaanty. He found the exit of Spiral Cave, so I don't know if he checked if he found the front of Spiral Cave, but he now knows where that's going to put him out. He's getting his half magic. Right now, it'll be interesting to see if Wulfy makes play in the pod, because this is something that Daaanty skipped when he was here the first time.
We'll see. We'll see if this happens, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like spending a bunch of keys in pod when I've only got, or spending my one key in pod to go through the front door. But Wulfy's going for it, so there we go. So we were discussing earlier, I think the reason that people skip out on Dark Cross here is because it's a Hyrule Castle in the Dark World, and that hurts. There's stuff in the back that just really hurts.
Yeah, the rats in Escape, if you enter Hyrule Castle through the Dark World, they actually have the properties of the grasshoppers at the top of Thieves Town. So they hit like a truck. I think one of them does like, what, 3 hearts of damage or something crazy like that?
It's 2, but with this little health, it's still not great. Now, that being said, you remember that archery game I was talking about?
Yeah.
Looks like Daaanty has found it.
I don't know that I would spend a whole lot of time finding money here, because I don't think Daaanty has done the hula hand yet. And he
It
has
looks
a
like-
glove, so he's like really close to 2 setups for the hula hand.
It looks like he's picked up enough to, like, together with the hula hand, basically get Zora money. Holy crap! The hammer is on the right side of Pod. You
Locked,
kidding me right now?
locked behind the bow.
Just
Man, so that's
imagine
bad.
if you'd have gone for the play right there with the potion glitch immediately. Then you could skip that door, go to the back, get a bunch of stuff there, sequence break the living snot out of this scene. What is going on?
Yeah, that's gonna hurt Daaanty, because until he gets another pod small key, or maybe even the bow, he might not even think about going back to a pod. With hammer and a glove and the moon pearl, Wulfy has a lot of the world open up to him right now.
Not only do you have much, less arduous Dark World access, but also you've got, so the hammer guaranteed us access to Kakariko Well, which is in the Magic Bat area.
The King of Samaria on the dig spot. Wow.
Oh, dang.
See, this is how you play cross keys. Just go straight to the progression.
So, go with me on this journey. Bow in the Fire Rod locked room in Turtle Rock.
Okay. I'll do you one better. Misery Mire Big Key, fire locked in Turtle Rock,
Gross.
and a lamp.
Alright, the well contains a big 20 and a map, this time to Thieves Town. Could be pretty useful. Another full heart, 50 rupees, and 20 rupees. So yeah, not a huge amount of progression there, but at least he got some safety out of it.
With that hammer, Wulfy might make a GT play here. It looks like he's going to skip it for now.
And you could go for GT here. You could definitely do right side GT, like in Logic.
Yeah, you can go. I'm not super familiar with the key logic, but
The keys
one
wouldn't
small
allow
key.
it.
I think you're good though.
The keys wouldn't really allow right side, but I mean, we have found, I think, 2 other small keys to GT.
Ooh, finding one of the Castle Tower small keys in the big chest of Thieves Town. That is really good information. That's also really annoying because we know that there is a small key behind the lumberjack drop.
Yeah, I think we found a hint for the other Castle Tower small key as well.
I think you're right, but I don't remember where it is.
Alright, Wulfy has located Spike Cave and does have both the hammer and the glove. Unfortunately, no real way to survive the spikes. Not after using that potion.
Yeah, I mean, with the red potion, you could have done it, but that would have been, I believe, a sequence break.
Daaanty, no bombs. Why doesn't Daaanty have bombs? He could have lifted those pots right there and got 2 more bombs.
This is good for Daaanty. He's about to get his hammer.
Holy crap, that's insane. Where's our Death Mountain access? Good question.
At the moment, the closest thing we have is a random dark room in the Mire area. We also do know that Hookshot Cave connects to the Death Mountain Ledge, but we don't have a mirror. And we know there is a connector that takes you to the Spectacle Rock, takes you to the random Death Mountain Ledge.
We know that Wulfy just found Laser Bridge.
Yeah, this is good, especially with boots. Just makes these laser skips much easier.
Yeah, and then Wulfy's just doing it without. Because why not? I saw him practicing this beforehand. I'm like, you show off.
I mean, clearly it paid off. That was a really clean laser bridge.
Yep, and he got a Master Sword out of it, so I'm certainly not going to complain. Alright, so Daaanty has managed to find his way into the back of Pod. He very well could go to the big chest, but it looks like he might be going for the big key chest instead. Well, nope. Looks like he's changed his mind about the whole thing.
Yeah, so he immediately went and checked the Bowlock side. So he only has one pod small key. So he can either open the front door or that big key chest or this door back here. He never opened the front door, so he has the option to do this. Whereas Wulfy went through that front door to spin his key.
Well, we'll see if this pays off. 50 rupees and a death.
Ooh, that's not a death you wanted to take.
No, it is not.
Because if you want to get back there, you now have to mimic clip.
Yeah, or go get another potion. But yeah. Don't even ask me how to mimic clip. I have no idea.
Yeah, the mimics have no collision detection on their first frame of movement. So you move them, basically you move them into a wall and then immediately pause. And upon unpausing your game, you move it up or down to lock them into that X coordinate. And you just do that over and over and over again until they're in the wall and the game just pushes the mimic out of bounds at that point. And Link to the Past is weird because technically that's a super tile. So if you said, like, hey, actually kill all the enemies, you'd have to kill all the enemies in the super tile, which is silly. So the way the game reconciles that is saying, hey, when no enemies are on the screen, unlock the door. Which is why Potion Glitch works as well.
Alright. Yeah.
Daaanty has found the old man... Wulfy has found the old man cave. It is in Dark Sank. He doesn't have a lamp, so he's navigating this in the dark. So this is a sequence break, but this is a very easy dark room, if you've ever practiced it.
Alright. Also, Wulfy has found Hookshot Cave now, and if this is anything like what we saw earlier, we may be seeing some hover shenanigans here. The big key of Turtle Rock found here in Hookshot Cave.
So it looks like the old man delivery entrance is the left entrance of Turtle Rock. So we found 3 out of 4 Turtle Rock, and unfortunately, the one you really need to find is the one with the big chest. Because you can access all entrances from that one, provided you have the keys to get around. But you can't exit that entrance from any of the other ones.
Find just a compass to eastern in the big key chest of Turtle Rock. And Daaanty having a little trouble getting to that last chest here in Hookshot Cave. Gonna dip out and come back in. Not even come back in. Just piece it. Oh, he's gonna fill up on health, so he never has problems with that again.
Yeah, and as chat is noting, anytime you enter the old man cave with Jeremiah is immediately discarded. And the reason why it does that is because if you get 2 followers, the game acts really weird, so that is a unique aspect to entrance. And
Wow.
Daaanty getting paid off with a big key to Thieves Town.
So that's the big key to Thieves Town and Turtle Rock sitting in that cave. So those are both hookshot locked by logic. So at the very least, you won't find the hookshot in those or behind those items. Now, you may end up finding the hookshot unnecessary if you're Daaanty.
Yeah, we haven't confirmed if Swamp is a pendant yet, but yeah, if Swamp is a pendant, then absolutely. Wulfy remembering to go in the correct direction without the hookshot.
Yep, that's the hardest trick in the game, if I'm told correctly.
Without any invincibility items, though, he will have to wait on these rollers, which feels like it's an eternity when you're used to doing this room fast.
Right, bombs and bombs. So, so much for my theory on the bow being there.
Yeah, it's a very underwhelming right side of Turtle Rock there. Or roller rooms, rather.
I feel like Daaanty might be... Never mind. I was thinking he might be going for the...
Oh wow, there's the other entrance to Turtle Rock.
Well then, they're kind of like right next to each other, like they normally are, just reversed order, and I'm stretching this too far.
Yeah, that one could be a tricky one because, like I said, you can't exit that entrance from any of the other Turtle Rock entrances, but you can access all of the other Turtle Rock entrances from that one. So that's one that's really useful to find, just to have that peace of mind.
Alright, so we find that Ice Palace leads to a fortune teller from a free hint up there on Death Mountain, and we find Mimic Cave, which just has a vanilla piece of art.
Does give him a health refill though, which is really nice to have on this mountain. These rocks could care less what armor class you have, they always deal 1 heart of damage.
What's your Thaco? Sorry.
Blind's Hideout. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only 5-item cave we found. We haven't found Mini Moldorm, nor have we found Hype Cave yet.
Right, map of Hera in here is the only thing of any relevance so far.
I love Daanty's red beetle strats there. Just dash through him until he dies.
Hey, the big key of Eastern there in the top of Blind's Hut. That is actually...
Really, really good to find, but at the same time, you know, you really hope you find the bow before you go back to Eastern. Triple dipping Eastern is never fun.
Alright, yet another hint here in the exit of Spectacle Rock Cave. That's telling us something we already know. At the back of Skull Woods leads to a cave with a chest. In this case, it was the Ice Rod Cave.
Are Daaanty doing the digging game? Which, if I'm not mistaken, this is new information. I don't think either of our runners did the digging game or stumping.
There is Paradox Cave, sitting at the normal Spike Cave entrance. And that is a ton of items just sitting there waiting to be grabbed. Speaking of items, there's the bow!
There's the bow. So now you're really happy that you got that Eastern Big Key. Also, that puts our hammer in logic.
Well, sort of. I don't think we got up to Death Mountain in logic, though.
You do have a point there. And I don't think any of the other entrances were connectors.
Actually, I think Turtle Rock. You could technically get through Turtle Rock itself.
Yes.
Like going from the front. Because we had 2 small keys.
Well, even that, you can get there from Laser Bridge for free.
Yeah, but not without the lamp.
Oh, yeah, good point, good point.
Yeah, and the lamp was the thing that was causing me issues in the first place, because we got here through the Old Man Dark room. That is the big key of Mire.
I mean, I don't know. At this point, Mire's not terrifying.
And a small key to Desert. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, you have Desert, Eastern, and Mire in the same area, kind of grouped together in Kakariko. So, I mean, go clear Eastern, dive Desert, check what the small key is, and then have fun in Mire if you want to. Ooh,
All
that's a good connector, but you really want to find that with a mirror.
Ho! Thieves Town, hello! Now, unfortunately for Wulfy, he does not have that Thieves Town big key.
Which is locked behind the hook shot, which we don't know where it is at this point.
I mean, it's going to be in here just to make you mad.
This is a force double dip. Cross keys be like.
Well, I mean, forcing a double dip into Thieves Town is not the world's worst thing. It's something you kind of expect anyway. It's like, if I run across Thieves Town, I'm checking the first 4 chests. I don't care who I am or where I am. Unless I'm actually in go mode.
Oh, there's our third medallion. So we have the Moon Pearl, we have the Nits, we have the Hammer, and we have Mire access. We don't have access to the top of East Death Mountain, but that more or less gives us reasonable access to all of our medallion entrances. Still have to find that East Death Mountain access, though.
I was kind of expecting Wulfy to go check what that medallion was, but wait, he's got all 3 medallions, so it doesn't matter. There is a cape. So that grants him access to that spike cave if he wants it.
Yeah, and in addition, Master Sword Vitreous can be kind of annoying, but if you have the cape, you literally just cape up and then just spam the Master Sword, so that makes your Vitreous fight really easy if he wants to make that play.
That is my favorite strat for Master Sword Vidi. Just spamming Master Sword. Well, Daaanty has found a small key to Turtle Rock in that purple chest, so once again, more Turtle Rock access. It looks like he's about to pick up that Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, that's 3 small keys to Rock, so we basically don't have to worry about any more keys for Turtle Rock.
To be fair, if you can find a reasonable entry to that left side entrance we were talking about, you can basically do all of Turtle Rock with like 1 small key.
Yep. Looks like Wulfy is making a GT play. He does have the ability to... Well, he doesn't have the hook shot. But otherwise, the mini Helmosaur room is in logic, I do believe. I think technically you might need all GT keys to make it up there, but
not
otherwise,
the mini Helmosaur room. The mini Helmosaur room, you don't need any keys. But Wulfy doing this nice bomb jump here to get 4 items here in the Stalfos room. That is a pod key. And a vanilla small key. And a pod key.
I think that is our last GT small key.
It's quite possible. Thing is, no, I think Wulfy had 2 coming in and got 1 under the pot.
Okay.
And a Skullwoods key, so lots of keys coming out here.
Looks like Daaanty might be checking out some of the Hyrule Castle connectors here. Which isn't a bad idea, but unfortunately, like, I don't know if he's even walked to where the Dark Sanctuary is.
I believe he has, actually. I think it was Daaanty that actually checked Dark Sanctuary. Somebody did.
Well, I know Wulfy checked it and went through it, but Daaanty, if he did check it, opted just not to bother with the dark room.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Alright, Wulfy, heading to Rando Room. Let's see what we find here. I guarantee you, not a hook shot. Lamp?
Ooh.
And a sword!
So that's all the offense you would ever need in the seed. I mean, Butter Sword's great, but really finding Temper Sword is definitely going to be a relief for Wolf.
I mean, I'd be okay with the silver arrows as well, but I'm not going to say no to what we got here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the pod area is completely useless for Daaanty. Neither the entrance next to the portal nor pod itself was anything of note.
Alright, the big chest, 300 rupees. Bonk. And it's time for Ice Armos. Yeah, I'm starting to believe the hookshot has to be somewhere readily available, like the pyramid over here. Nope, just 10 arrows there. We've got heart piece, big key to Hera. Behind Ice Arm.
So that's 3 dungeons that Wulfy could technically full clear now. With a lamp, Meyer is now trivial to do. Lamp and Tempered Sword and Half Magic, Meyer shouldn't be any issue for Wulfy.
Yeah, my grandma could do Meyer in this game with this equipment. She's not even alive.
Wulfy is making the play to the right side of GT now. At this point, I'm not well, without hookshot, no, I definitely wouldn't climb.
My question is, why aren't you using that shiny cape you picked up? Or was it Daaanty that picked that up?
I think that was
red rupee.
I think the cape was somewhere on Death Mountain.
Yeah, it was Wulfy, according to our tracker. You only need 3 small keys to get to Ice Armos logically, but one of those was locked behind the hookshot.
And the lamp was locked behind the hookshot as well, so we know the lamp can't be in the dark room. Or we know hookshot can't be in the dark room, rather.
So we know where the 4th one is. Okay. Alright, so Wulfy is taking a death here because I think Wulfy intends to make the climb.
It would be a very bold move to climb without hookshot.
Or not.
Okay, he's an open out. Yeah, he doesn't need to grab the key because he has one, so he can get the other smoke from the mini Helmosaur. And it looks like he is going to clear out some of these dungeons we were talking about. So he can clear Eastern, he can check the right side of Desert with that small key, he can also clear Mire. He's got a lot on his to-do list right now. Meanwhile, Daaanty just needs to take that Death Mountain connector. Although if he's going to Turtle Rock left, he will be put on Death Mountain.
Yeah, and turns out Daaanty has literally all the Turtle Rock keys, so he can just do this and not worry about it. Can even check the middle chest and not have to worry about any keys.
I mean, Daaanty does have half magic, so I guess it's not really that big of a deal, but I would definitely be using Canis Amari to hit these switches. Unfortunately, I missed what was in the big chest on Wulfy's screen.
As did I. I got a little distracted by various goings-on, but yeah, 3 bombs. I think, now that I think about it, I think I did see the 3 bombs. It just didn't register because it was so insignificant. Yeah, lack of mirror is a particular problem. Now, the good news for Daaanty is he's going to get access to Death Mountain right here. Alright, big 20 on Armos, and a blue pendant, turns out, for Eastern Palace.
Another cross key special. The first dungeon you get logical access to complete is always a pendant.
Yeah, basically. Daaanty actually deciding to head a different direction. Looks like he's going to go for the Crystal Roller Room chest first. That does seem reasonable.
Not knowing that the big chest entrance is on Death Mountain, I agree with this play. Go ahead and clear out all the items you can get to, and then start, checking all the connectors you have around.
He's gonna be like, really? Really? He sees that entrance. That being said, Wulfy also taking out Skull Woods while he's down here. We'll see if that's another.
I missed this on my dungeon suite, but yeah, this was right next door to Eastern. Wulfy just missing the dash strat on Mafula.
I mean, that
He went for the
seemed
quick kill.
pretty good to me. And this time it's a crystal and a bottle in that big chest for Daaanty as we move along.
It's kind of funny that entrance was literally next door to where he was.
Yep.
Now Wulfy is going to clean up Mire, and then I imagine he would go over to Desert, although he might be holding off on, maybe when he checks Desert, he wants to also check a couple of connectors because he hasn't explored any of the Desert connectors yet.
So I'm not going to lie, I would bet a reasonable amount of money that the hookshot is in here, in Mire. First of all, because the hookshot likes to be in Mire. I don't know if you noticed this. Basically, when you get the boots early, it just makes it that much more likely that the hookshot's in Mire. And when you get the hookshot early, it's more likely that the boots are in Mire. It's just weird. Alright, Wulfy going upstairs to check the final, or the big key chest after the cutscene. Meanwhile, Daaanty picking up that big key to Eastern.
Yeah, this is one of the rare situations in which I really appreciate the hints because it added a lot more value to this chest. Because now instead of just, waiting 12 seconds on a junk item, you also get some useful information occasionally. Like that right there. That's a solid hint.
Yeah, that's actually a real good piece of information. It means you don't have to go out of your way looking for that big key to Ice Palace. It did not, however, save you from still getting that useless red rupee in the chest you were about to open.
Yeah, the only hint I would have rather have seen there would be, tell me what's in the big chest of Skullwoods. That's what I would want to know at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
And for those of you who have, just recently joined, we know via hint that the big key to Skullwoods is on the pedestal.
Alright, Wulfy now headed for the big chest of Misery Mire. Piece of heart. And a compass of ice.
So far, nothing meaningful has been in Mire.
Yep,
all we need now is for this to be a pendant.
For like the ultimate debated. Ultimate debated.
Wow, unless Vitreous has something, this entire dungeon has been garbage.
And Vitreous is not going to have the hook shot.
Because it is lamp locked.
Correct. I would have lost a reasonable amount of money, that is correct. Luckily no one took me up on that. Yeah, we definitely could still need that small key at the Lumberjack, because we certainly have not found the small key to Swamp yet. We don't even know if Swamp is necessary. Neither of our runners have decided to map check yet. You're killing me, Smalls. That's all I'm saying. And Daaanty picks up that bow. And Wulfy is on his way to Viddy. Now, I saw him doing some Viddy practice right before this. This should be a pretty academic fight here.
Yeah, I think the practice hat gives you 7 hearts for this fight, so he's coming in with 10, so this should be a very comfortable fight for him.
Mm-hmm. And
a good fight usually costs you 5 hearts, a bad fight 6. Unless it just goes catastrophically wrong, and then you just better pray you have a fairy.
And Daaanty has located Thieves Town now, does have the big key, does not have the small key.
If I remember, though, wasn't the big chest spoiled by a hint?
I believe it was, but I think it was something potentially relevant.
Oh, a castle tower key.
Yeah.
There's a castle tower key in the big chest of Thieves Town. So, Wulfy giving us new information here with the small key locked side of Desert Palace.
And this has the swamp key!
Ooh, that's a good one. He's still opting not to check the connectors, though. And we don't know where Swamp is, and even if we did, we don't have flippers, so that's
and
not.
We haven't found the dam.
Oh yeah, good point. I think right now he's making a beeline for Hera.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. The Tower of Hera big key, of course, found pretty recently there. I was behind Ice Armos, if I recall correctly.
Yes. So we know for a fact that we're not going to find Hookshot in the back of Thieves Town. Chat's asking about the Castle Tower small key. I think both of the Castle Tower small keys have been hinted at, but the only one I can remember is the Thieves Town small key. I mean, one is in the Thieves Town big chest.
Hey, silver
Silver's
arrows.
on Wulfy.
And apparently Ganon's Tower leads to a cold bee. By the way, a cold bee is, of course, is where you get several people to stand in the line and sneeze in turns. The person with the best sneeze wins.
Ten bombs, so nothing useful there. Wulfy with an excellent Moldorm fight. Always feels good when you can bully Moldorm.
Yeah. Nobody likes to see him stick around longer than he has to, and any revenge you can get for previous falls always just feels great.
So I'm trying to think what our runners have left. Have we seen where the front of desert exits to? I know we've seen desert. Ooh. Ooh, so logically, Daaanty is... He's got a lot to keep track of right now.
Yeah. So the
Hookshot
mirror is
cannot be
behind the
behind-
hookshot.
The hookshot cannot be behind the lamp or the mirror.
So, you know where I think the hookshot is now?
Where?
Zora.
Ooh, that's a good one. At this point, I am starting to get a little suspicious of the GT climb. I know I would hate to do it without the hookshot, but at this point, we're really running low on options.
Yeah, GT climb is a thing. Ugh.
We could technically go kill Helmasaur, I think, with our key loadout right now. Or I think Daaanty might be able to. If Daaanty found his second pod small key, I'm not sure. Wulfy has 3 right now. Yeah, so Wulfy could go kill Helmasaur.
But at least according to his tracker, he doesn't have the big key.
Oh, yeah, but he does have access to it, but he hasn't picked it up. Because he hasn't explored any of the desert connectors. I have a small key on the floating island, which is a Paradox Cave connector, but I don't know if Daaanty knows that.
I believe he does. Yeah, he came down. That's how he got to Thieves Town in the first place.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now we are seeing Daaanty open up the Turtle Rock entrance. With all of those medallions, I wouldn't blame you.
Wulfy opting to make a play on Dark Cross now that he has that lamp.
Okay.
Also, as I'm talking about all the logic breaks that Daaanty has to keep up with, he actually doesn't know about the lamp.
That is true. But Daaanty did just find the flippers inside Waterfall Cave, which was in Turtle Rock.
Which we're not even sure at this point if it's actually in logic. It really depends on what's at this Hera entrance. Because I think, did he check the Paradox Cave top?
So he came out of Paradox Cave top to get to the floating island. He's going to go out the bottom now, I think. Alright, there's Wulfy back on my screen. Took me a little bit. There we go. Alright, and Wulfy is now checking the entrance to pod.
Ooh, kind of missing the Kiki dash there.
Huh?
As he just so slightly missed the Kiki dash, so Kiki had to walk in slow motion from way back there.
Yeah, sorry, what? I mean, what do you mean by Kiki Dash?
Oh, so Kiki dash, when you dash, Kiki trails really far behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you trigger the pod opening cutscene, he walks in slow motion. So typically people will cancel their dash and juke up and down so that Kiki is right on top of Link's sprite. So that's where when he starts walking in slow motion, that's where he walks from. So you don't get he doesn't have to walk in slow motion from, 3 tiles behind you.
Ah, that was the other Castle Tower small key. It was alone in a cave, that was the hint, and it was at the top of Paradox Cave entrance, which was the Graveyard Ledge Cave.
So this entrance right here is really going to tell us a lot about the logic. It's not a connector, so flippers are out of logic, because we're not supposed to have the mirror. We need the hook shot, which would give us the lamp, which would also give us the mirror via the Thieves Town Big Key.
Well, here's the dam in Spiral Cave, and it's got the Swamp Big Key in it. So, if you're worried about going in the swamp without the Big Key, never mind. I mean, it was me who said hookshot on Zora, but sure.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to take credit for your genius.
Nah, it's alright.
Well, that cave's not far from home. I think that cave is literally next door to its vanilla location.
And there's Checkerboard Cave, just a big 20, so still no hookshot. The hookshot is just kind of our linchpin right now as far as the logic.
We do find out that both Skullwoods and Ice Palace are 5/6 crystals. Here's a Gino, which we're technically not supposed to have access to.
So I feel like it's either Zora or Up GT, and I think that's all that's left, to be honest.
For Wulfy's sake, I really hope it's not Upper GT, because that's going to be a real hard call for Wulfy to make. But if Daaanty can hover, he's not going to have any qualms about climbing GT, because when he gets some older too, he can just hover and finish it out. Although, if I'm keeping track correctly, I don't think we found the fairy, right? So we know that Aga 2 isn't required for items.
Yeah.
Or have we found the fairy and I just... Okay.
Yeah, so the useless fairy is exactly that, and is at the pyramid, so nothing to write home about there. Alright, there's that other GT key for Wulfy. So now he knows all that's in logic as long as you had the hookshot. Oh, here we go. Entrance to Misery Mire, which has the flute in it and the hookshot.
There we go. We're back in logic.
Well, if that
at least Daaanty is.
If that wasn't like the biggest pile of movement options I've ever seen in my life. But
Man,
yeah, there's a reason that small key to Hera and Fire Rod were available that real early, because Quake was in that Hera basement, and Quake got you into that building. Oh, and there's ice.
Man, so this is interesting because Wulfy definitely has a dungeon lead over Daaanty right now. But Daaanty, knowing where that hookshot is, also having access to a couple of big keys that Wulfy doesn't have, and without the flute, Wulfy has to walk all the way back down to Hookshot Cave to get a lot of this stuff. This might be the I guess the second win that Daaanty needs.
Let's see, the connector to Meyer was in the Lost Woods. It was like well open. Or at least that was a connector to Meyer.
As far as I know, it's the only connector. One thing I will say, I don't think Daaanty checked Checkerboard Cave, so I hope he remembers to do that after he clears ice.
I imagine he will. We may have had a resync issue here, and I don't think I was able to pick up what Daaanty found the first chest there.
I did watch him open it up. I don't think it was useful. My brain didn't even register it, but I was looking at it. Oh dang, Daaanty hovering the Ice Palace bomb jump and then walking off the ledge.
Yeah,
For those who aren't familiar with hovering technique, you typically have to rotate the controller 45 degrees, so your directions are a little bit off. So if you don't reorient the controller in your hands, it can be very difficult to steer Link.
Well, I mean, as long as you just continue to hold the direction and keep your movement consistent, you should be okay. It's just it can be a little bit of a pain to hold multiple directions while you're doing that. It's not what you're used to with your typical hover. All right, now Wulfy is going to check Spike Cave. Got a full heart for Daaanty, and Wulfy is leaving us in suspense for a second. Why you gotta be that guy?
It looks like he's setting up the spin speed. That frog is like, this Uber sucks.
The second connector to Meyer was in the Lost Woods. It was just through the Lost Woods gamble game to the Lower Norfair entrance. Okay, so Wulfy, seeing that big key up there on top of Bumper Ledge, still hasn't taken the connector out of Desert to get.
Yeah, and Daaanty actually finding the hint that tells us that a cave with 2 chests is at Misery Mire. But that's an ice palace, which you're not going to find without having the hook shot and the mirror.
Well, we find yet another pod key there in Ice Tea Room, so pod getting more and more in logic as the time.
Really, I think that pod small key is all we found of use in this entire dungeon. just bombs on Smiths, but we knew that because Daaanty got that earlier.
Yeah, and the purple chest though has that has another key that we find somewhat interesting. And down goes Cold Stare for Daaanty. And we know that this is a crystal. In fact, we know it's a 5/6 crystal.
Wulfy is finally making the play over to Bumper Ledge, so he's going to get his pod big key. I would not be surprised to see him probably immediately head to pod. He might hold off until he finds like one or like maybe one more small key, but yeah, that is a boss he can go kill now.
So it looks like, I mean, if I'm Daaanty, I gotta be feeling pretty good about sequence breaking around the hookshot for a bunch of this, because you got the mirror, and you got that out of Thieves Town, which you otherwise couldn't have gotten to, because you needed the big key. And of course, the mirror makes all of these checks just infinitely better.
This is a good check from Daaanty. Also remembering to check the front of desert.
Oh!
And this swamp! I don't think he has the small key though, or does he?
Doesn't look like it.
I cannot remember where the Swamp House small key was.
It was on the right side of desert.
Oh, that's right. He does have the Desert Palace small key.
Yes, the flute will make it pretty easy for him to get back there. So I don't remember what the bunny sprite is. I think it's just like a red-eyed bunny or something. I mean, Daaanty hasn't activated the flute, but that's just because he's only just gotten it.
Where was it? Was that what was on Cold Stare?
The flute? No, that was right next to the hookshot.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I saw the hook shot, but I missed the flute.
Whoa! There's a book on the Zora ledge. What are we gonna do about that?
I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking, like, what would I even think about the book right now? I'd probably be more annoyed than anything. Because that's Bamos tablet and Ether tablet, none of which are really convenient to get back to from a routing perspective. Like, if you check those locations, you're purely going to check those locations.
You know, I'd pay 500 rupees for something that made me take half damage.
I mean, there are definitely worse things you can get off Zora. If I get anything that gives me any kind of advantage, I'm usually happy.
Wulfy activating potato mode powers for the hammer yump.
Alright, so it looks like Daaanty is going to be backtracking over a lot of Wulfy's steps. So this is where we're really going to see probably somebody take a lead at this point. It's a matter of, can Wulf find where the hookshot is and then get the Thieves Town big key, Turok big key, in the time that it takes Daaanty to finish these few dungeons in Kakariko.
Yeah. So one thing we know is that Daaanty is at some point going to have to go at least to Ice Armos in Ganon's Tower. Because the big key to Hera is there. If he decides to go left side, which, to be honest, in his situation, I would, because there's more chests that way, he will get the Tempered Sword as part of that bargain. You need Mirror because you have to get to Ice Palace. And Ice Palace is at the top of... is at the back of Desert. There's no other way to get there.
Well, technically, if Flute was in right next to Hookshot, then that would be access to that. Well, no, we could... there. My bad. Really, it's a matter of if Desert Left was a connector, but I don't think it was.
I don't believe so. Oh, crud. I just missed the flute activation. I had a thing. Oh well.
Daaanty creeping on a lonely civilian.
Like you do. Alright, so Daaanty is now going to clear out the ever so barren Misery Mire, while Wulfy takes down Helmasaur and gets that crystal. So, yes, once again a crystal on Helmasaur.
Which, surprisingly enough, neither of our runners have done a map check yet.
Yeah, they're really giving our trackers a hard time.
Also, in terms of items, I think we still have Mini Moldorm Cave out there. We still have Hype Cave.
Yeah.
We haven't found Sahasrahla.
Yeah.
There's still a lot
directly
of
out of a mouth.
There are a lot of single locations that could really pay off if we find them.
Yeah. To be honest, I think Sahasrahla is... Or I think we're going to find one of those locations mirroring from the top of Bumper Cave.
Well, we got the top of Bumper Cave. We still have the top of Hyrule Castle to check. There's
I
also
think Daaanty
that...
actually checked the top of Hyrule Castle just a couple minutes ago.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Wait, what
I don't
was
think
Ice
either
Rod?
of our...
Oh, apparently Wulfy has the Ice Rod. Shows how much I know. Oh, Dark Cross. Wow.
Ooh, that's interesting, because that is a hard orphan for Daaanty right now.
Ooh. And you know what Wulfy's about to get? Everybody's favorite hookshot.
And the flute, which makes Hookshot Cave way more accessible for him.
Mm-hmm. And that was over at Ice Rod Cave, if I recall correctly. And Wulfy is out here.
Wulfy is probably kicking himself, because he's had access to that for some time now. Granted,
right.
I mean, it's hard to make a walk back here for one entrance, but when you see an entrance that valuable that you've had access to for this long, it never feels good.
Yeah. Alright, Daaanty gonna go for the back of Mire here, and meanwhile Wulfy's gonna go activate his flute, and if you'll indulge me for a moment, I might have something prepared.
Take it away.
I come to you today with a helpful PSA to all of you who say you like to run. If you go to an event with lots and lots of nerd friends, make sure to wash your hands or you'll get the crud. That was from personal experience over the AGDQ week. Just letting you know. Or SGDQ, excuse me. Alright.
Wulfy immediately making a play for Ho-Chak K.
Oh, definitely a big deal. Thieves Town, big key. Turtle Rock, big key. And something completely irrelevant that I can't remember. Alright.
So that means Wulfy can now clear Thieves Town. He can now clear Turtle Rock. He's got a lot of dungeons he can complete. So at this point, I think Daaanty. I mean, I'm trying to think of what could put Daaanty in the lead right now, or what could bring Daaanty back in the race. Because right now, it really looks like Wulfy has a substantial lead over Daaanty right now. Daaanty. Oh my gosh,
I do
that
believe
is.
he picked up a fairy in a bottle, though. Whew.
Oh man, that is one of the most painful deaths you can take. Does Daaanty not have the cape though? Where was the cape?
The cape was up.
I thought it was on Death Mountain somewhere.
Yeah. Alright, Wulfy looks like he's going for Trinex here.
So it does look like Turtle Rock is a pendant. So Daaanty might not need that ice rod.
Oof. But what if Daaanty needs the Skullwood's big key?
Ooh. That's a fun thought. So it looks like Wulfy does have full crystal knowledge now. If I'm not mistaken, are we in no mode?
Well,
oh no, we need the Desert Palace.
Yeah. Desert Palace big, which could be in the Skullwood's big chest. Just throwing that out there, or is it right there? It's on Trinex. So there you go.
Oh, that's bad.
So Daaanty is going to need that ice rod. Uh-oh.
I know that one of the runners have found back in desert. I don't know if both of them have found it. Now, I saw it, but I forgot to mark it on my tracker.
So apparently it's Daaanty that found it. I imagine it's a mirror location. Because I don't remember seeing it.
So Wulfy still has to find Ice Palace, which is locked behind the mirror, but he has flutes and
there it is.
Oh, well, there's back a desert. Okay, cool. Is he doing this? Oh, yeah, duh. He has a desert beak key. He just found it. Forgive me as I forget what literally just happened 2 minutes ago.
Alright, so Wulfy just needs to... he needs the mirror to get to Ice Palace. And we know that the mirror is in the back of Thieves Town, so he's going to have to go back there.
Back of Pendant Thieves at that.
And strangely enough, it is in the chest that does not require the small key and logic back there. So it's kind of
flippers
cool.
were in the Turtle Rock medallion entrance. That led to the Waterfall Ferry, which gave flippers. And Dam
If
is
he
on
goes
the
to Thieves
Spiral
Town,
Cave.
if he goes to Thieves Town, I think he's going there as well. Because Thieves Town is literally the Hookshot Cave entrance. And so it's right next door to the Turtle Rock entrance. I imagine both of those will be checked in short order.
Yeah, and with Hype Cave and Mini Moldorm still at large, I imagine he's definitely going to be checking entrances. Even after finding like ice pallets or something like that.
Shout outs to the developers of Cadence of Hyrule who decided to put Dead Rocks in that game too. That was a solid move.
Yeah, I think Daaanty is in a really hard position right now because he has to pick Dark Cross over a GT climb, over so many things right now. When he gets the Swamp Palace small key, he's probably going to full clear Swamp. There's just so many more quote unquote better things you can do than check Dark Cross.
And so Daanty's doing poke dash strats, or at least attempting poke dash strats here on Armos. Gonna get that big T to Hera, which we know he needs.
Yeah, based on his arrow usage, I think it's safe to say he is not planning on climbing GT right now.
Seems reasonable.
Mirror was in Zelda's cell.
No,
Zelda,
Maiden
the
Cell.
Maiden Cell in Thieves Town.
Oh, and Wulfy getting dead rocked in like the most annoying way. Just the way that you're pretty sure there's enough space there. But the game says no.
Yeah, Daaanty getting wallmastered in torture room or dial room.
Yeah, Daaanty needs the ice rod because the Desert Palace big key is on Trinex.
Wulfy was in Paradox Cave, but opted not to. Oh wait, no, Wulfy doesn't have the mirror yet, so he can't go back through that entrance. Never mind.
I mean, what Wulfy needs to do, actually, is go through Paradox Cave, go to the top, and then jump down and go back into Thieves Town.
Yeah, he went through Paradox Cave. He just went through the wrong entrance and couldn't get back because he was locked. So this will definitely send him to Thieves Town. I'm not sure if he will check how many entrances he'll check before diving Pendant Thieves.
I mean, I think he's headed right there because he's already been up here once. He'll get the mirror out of here, and that will prompt him to check some of these other entrances up here that he otherwise didn't have access to.
And once Wulfy gets Mirror, I think at that point he has no need to check anything other than entrances, right? Like there's nothing he could want. Every entrance in the game at that point is open to him. Oh yeah, Jetters. Wulfy does still need flippers. But at the same time, that's literally next door.
Right. And also, I guess he needs to find the dam, but that is an entrance.
That's also right next door.
Correct. I imagine Turtle Rock entrance will be one of the first, if not the first entrance that Wulfy checks. But we will see.
And even if he skips it on his first Death Mountain trip, like if for some reason he just doesn't jump down and check Spiral Cave, like he jumps down the center one instead, Hookshot Cave connects to the Dark World Turtle Rock Bridge. So with Mirror, that's another way he could even get to it. So it's I think it's going to be a short matter of time before Wulfy ends up finding Dam, if he doesn't find it in the next 2 minutes.
All right. Wulfy gonna find that mirror right now.
Daaanty.
Oh no.
Daaanty, what are you doing, man?
Daaanty just spent his key
and save and quit.
He's gonna need to find another small key to pod.
That can't feel good. Just muscle memory got the better of him there.
I mean, to be honest, I would have felt like just reset there. I don't think you found anything that relevant in pod, did you?
Well, maybe not in pod, but I don't know what he did before pod.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, he might have hard reset like the GT, all of that.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. Ugh. That is brutal. Oh. You're killing me. That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
What if the last pod key is in skull with the big chest? What kind of cool person are you? Back off, Satan. Anyway.
I don't know what logic Cool Bababel's going by. Let's hope Wulfy finishes fast so Daaanty doesn't feel bad. Like, oh yeah, that always makes me feel better when someone just completely dunks on me. Like,
I mean, sometimes.
I only lost by an hour and a half. I feel great about that.
I mean, it could be that key up there on the floating island.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Daanty's already checked that.
Oh, okay.
So Wulfy's about to get his flippers. He's about to feel really good about that. And then, odds are, when he goes to Desert, he's going to find both Ice Palace and Swamp Palace. Swamp Palace being in the front of Desert.
Yeah, this will be pretty quick finish if he ends up checking things in the order I think he will.
Sahasrara, if Daanty's lucky, his final pod key is here. Oh, Wulfy choosing wrong, so he will be missing out on the dam right now.
There's the big key of Ice Palace as well there.
There's a small key to pod. He is bailed out
there
for now.
and powder, so just throwing that out there. Whoever
there's probably a huge sigh of relief on Daanty's part right now. Because he knew he messed up the moment he opened that door.
Alright,
Wulfy is heading right back to Tower of Terra. I don't think he checked Terra or the other... I mean, obviously he hasn't checked Spiral Cave because that was the dam. But I don't think he's checked this entrance either.
Yeah, and the good news is, can definitely get a hold of it. So it's a good thing that he decided to come back up here immediately. He's gonna find that dam now.
And here it is. So now all Wulfy has to do is go over to the desert area. Or really the mire area, but I mean, Flute Gloves is desert area for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, both of those entrances are in the desert. Because one of them is the desert main entrance, and one of them is the back entrance of desert, but you basically have to get there from mire.
Yeah, and to answer a question in chat, Wulfy is in entrance mode. All he needs to do is find Ice Palace and Swamp Palace, and then he will be able to clear the game. Daaanty still needs to find the Swamp Palace small key, which is in desert, locked behind the desert small key, which he has. That's a check.
And he also needs to find the desert big key, which is locked behind the ice rod.
Which is in the Dark Cross, which is hard orphaned by Daaanty right now. Not only is it orphaned, but it's not. It's going to be a long time before that's an attractive choice on his part.
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't even cross his mind. Like he might even just think he's already done it.
Oh, I see what you did there. Cross.
I didn't even see what I did there.
Oh. Well, not only did he not have magic, but also Hyrule Castle, that particular entrance, is in the Dark World, and when Daaanty found it his first time, he had low health, and it took him a while to get back there with the lamp and with proper equipment, so just by the time he had that, he had other options that were better.
So Wulfy found Agate Tower at Cave 45 and elected not to go inside or pick up anything, and I believe it's because he's pretty well aware all he needs are entrances. But he did go ahead and grab the item from Sick Kid, because that's a pretty quick check.
Yeah, I mean, if that has butter, then it's worth the check in my opinion. You know you still have to fight Cold Stare.
And Wulfy has yet to find the armor upgrade either, so...
that was at Zora, I believe.
Correct.
I'm a bit surprised that Wulfy's checking all these one-off locations instead of the entrance density that is the desert area for him right now. He knows he's in entrance mode. He's not even bothering with Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, so I imagine he's going through all these areas just trying to get as much coverage as he can out of it. Because while there are quite a few entrances in the mire area, he's already double-dipped it once, and it always feels bad to have to double-dip it some more, so maybe that's kind of what's going on in your head.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, that's like 4 entrances that you can check within seconds of each other, you know?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's good reasoning, I'm just trying to, think about his reasoning. Oh, actually, this is it. Because he routed it out so that he comes from this entrance and then goes straight in the desert so that he can come out the left side here and check the mire. It was a calculated route.
Desert doesn't link over to mire though, does it?
Oh wait, yeah,
That's the Lost Woods connector that links over to Mire. This links to Bumper.
I'm smoking something. That's what I would.
Ooh, Daaanty getting bullied by Moldworm.
Alright, he's
This has to
skating
be
away
desert
to
area.
6. There we go. Alright, so Wulfy should be locating those 2 dungeons rather shortly.
Yeah, so this will lead him to Ice Palace, which is in Desert Back. And then it's just a matter of checking Desert Front. Which he doesn't have the book yet, so he will have to mirror. Which some people can forget to do, but I doubt Wulfy will make that mistake.
Alright, Wulfy finding Ice Palace. And as he is in, entrance mode, he can treat this dungeon like a go mode dungeon. Literally just walk through, do the bomb jump and walk to the boss and beat it.
Oh, I hope Daanty's doing what I think he is. Oh, Daaanty. Please.
Oh, we go into the Dark Cross, ladies and gentlemen.
So this will give him his Ice Rod, which will put Trinex in logic. But he still needs to go to Desert to get the Swamp Palace small key. Man, good on Daaanty for remembering this. Because if you're familiar with the tracker that most people use when it just tracks items, Hyrule Castle does not have a designated item count. So a lot of people, if they orphan an item in Hyrule Castle, it's the most likely item for you to forget.
Yeah. Yeah, if he decides to go to to Turtle Rock and finish that out, I think there's a reasonable chance when he gets the Desert Big Key, he might go back to Desert.
Correct, with a hard truth in chat. This is why you learn itemless 3-heart Dark Swords. Because why wouldn't you,
I mean, I'm not saying I have done that, but I think I've done fairly close. But it's not pretty.
I'll tell you right now, I've tried to do it. Never successfully.
But yeah, with the equipment they had when they got there, I think it probably would have been okay because they had the fire rod and everything. I feel like I would have done it, but that being said, there's a lot of hindsight going on here.
Okay, so Daaanty is making all the plays he needs to play because this is going to give him the Desert Palace Big Key. He knows where the back of Desert is. Technically, he could mirror and check right side Desert right now. I don't know if he would because, go ahead and kill the boss that you're going to have to kill anyways. Then check the extra stuff. But yeah, this might be good for Daaanty. If, by some chance, Wulfy forgets to mirror and check front of Desert, this could be a very interesting race.
Yep. Alright, Wulfy going back to the mirror portal after collecting his 6th crystal. Where are we going from here? Looks like we're going to go check Checkerboard Cave first.
Man, the real question is in chat. Does Wulfy know how to fight Ganon with Tempered and Silvers?
Good question.
It's a tough fight. And here is Wulfy about to find Swamp Palace. So this is full on go mode for Wulfy. All he has to do is clear this dungeon and go kill Ganon.
Yep, so we should be seeing Roast Pig in about, I don't know, like 7 minutes.
Daaanty is making all of the right plays that he needs to make right now. He is about to come up on the small key to Swamp, which will put him in go mode. But unfortunately, I think it's just going to be a little too late. He still has to go back and kill Helmasaur. He has to go kill Landmo, and then he has to go finish Swamp, whereas Wulfy just has to finish Swamp.
So very close on, go mode. So Wulfy was in full-on go mode when he entered Swamp. Daanty's in full-on go mode right now. Little bit under a minute separating the two, but still not going to be close enough in getting it done.
Yeah, which Daanty's. If I was in Daanty's position, I'd have. Ooh, we found butter.
Yeah, Wulfy picked up the big key to Swamp in the dam as he was doing it, and then he's like, I'll open this. Why not? Sure, butter sword.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
And when you think about it, this opens up a whole new can of worms because even if he's good with Tempered Sword and Silver's for Ganon, is he good with Butter Sword and Silver's for Ganon?
I don't know if anyone's really good with Butter
fight.
Sword and Silver's.
But yeah, I mean, when it came down to it, Wulfy had the right items. Daaanty made a lot of exciting sequence breaks. Hovering Hookshot Cave, getting an early Turtle Rock big key, an early Thieves Town big key, early mirror. But just in the midst of all that, Wulfy was finding exactly what he needed to clear dungeons. So I think what got Daaanty was just he sequence broke things that unlocked a lot of entrances, whereas Wulfy found progression.
Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty decisive win for Wulfy here, but Daaanty was, leading the way for quite a bit of the time here. And it really came down to that big key being on Trinex.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Daanty's tracker. Like, Daaanty made a lot of decent skips. Didn't go back to take care of Armos, which was a slight time save over Wulfy. But I also think getting that mirror, he just had access to a lot of stuff that he tried to route in that just over time gave Wulfy a lot of stuff that just didn't pay out. And then Wulfy found, basically what he needed to find.
All right, Wulfy dropping into the Ganon fight. Could very easily see the sub 210 here. And we're into phase 3 already.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Wulfy's comfortable with the Butter Sword against Ganon at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, all the swords are interchangeable, except for the Master one where you have to spin.
And yes, we did find silvers.
Up 2. This is a good spot for a double. There we go. And one more hit. That's going to do it.
Yeah, he tried for the triple, but that doesn't work if he's up against the edge.
And there we go. Wulfy finishing in first place with an official time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 53 seconds. Congratulations to Wulfy, and we will see if we can talk to him. All right. Meanwhile, Daaanty is finishing off Argus, so we'll be done pretty soon. Sounds like we have been joined by Wulfy. Congratulations, and welcome to the winner's circle.
Hey, thanks.
All right. Well played on your part. I'm gonna give you one guess as to what item might have tripped up your opponent.
What item was that?
It was the Desert Palace Big Key. By way of the Ice Rod.
Oh,
Because
I see that.
Like
that gave
you,
me...
both of you skipped the Dark Cross room early, and Daaanty skipped it forever.
I see.
Picked it up in like 2 hours in.
Yeah, with killing Trinix there, I was like... I went into the Dark World to kill him, and then I did a map check and saw it was a pendant. So I was like, well, I'm already here. Let's go do it anyway. And it paid off.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid play, yeah.
Yeah, this was an interesting scene. So you stuck to the logic way more than your opponent did. Daaanty opted to hover Hookshot Cave, so he had the Thieves Town Big Key and the Turtle Rock Big Key long before you did, which gave him the mirror way earlier than you did. And I think he also found the Hookshot and Flute before you did. You, of course, found the lamp, which was Hookshot locked in GT. So, when Daaanty found the mirror, like, we were trying to piece together the Death Mountain logic for a while there. It was just quite the logical puzzle. But with Daaanty finding that mirror, I think he kind of wandered around Hyrule a little bit longer than you did, whereas you stuck to dungeons, and just two things in particular, you coming up on the Ice Rod, which led to the Desert Palace Big Key, and then also you finding the Swamp Palace Small Key. Those are just two things that it took Daaanty a while to come back to, because he had so much on the table at that point.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty bad about how late I checked the Mire entrance for the Flute and Hookshot, because I could have done that ages ago. It was a play I was keeping in my back pocket, and it turned out to be really important.
Yeah, I mean, everything from your perspective made sense. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back for that one entrance, especially when it's so awkward to get to. And then for it to be that valuable, like, that never feels good.
Meanwhile, Daaanty has finished as well with an official time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 43 seconds. So congratulations to him. Less than 4 minutes separating the two runners here. Real close race. You guys hit actual go mode at basically less than a minute apart, because your actual go mode was finding Swamp, and his was getting the Swamp Small Key. So...
Yeah, where was that Swamp Small Key? I remember just kind of getting it along the way.
It was Desert Right Side.
Ah, you're right.
All right. So, once again, congratulations. This is your winner's bracket round 3. Still moving on in the winner's bracket. I'm told that the winner of this race is going to face off against Andy, so good luck with that.
Yeah, that's right. I look forward to that. Should be a fun race.
And contrary to popular opinion, Andy is not unbeatable. Yeah, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Does look
Were
like
there-
Daaanty will be joining us.
While we're waiting on Daaanty, were there any moments of the seed that particularly stuck out to you? Like, were there any moments where you were like, okay, this was a good play. I feel like I'm in the lead right now.
Kinda. I mean, I figured I would probably have the mirror sooner. I didn't actually know that Daaanty could cover, which would explain getting it sooner. But yeah, I actually like objectively felt like it was a bit of a misplay to go to Thieves when I did. I felt like I should have done Purple Chest and Zora first, but it worked out.
And welcome, Daaanty, GG.
Yo, hey, GG Wulfy.
Thanks, GG.
Very, very close race here between the two of you. Just, one little thing, one little decision here and there makes a little bit of difference. And, I mean, as commentators, we kind of knew what was up for quite a while because both of you, had such disparate runs. But in the end, it was just that one little location and one little pendant boss that, of course, you have to do the pendant boss, right?
Yep.
Yeah, to take Dr. Bob's words throughout the seed, Hookshot was really the linchpin for a lot of the logic, right? So just to give you the recap that we just gave, obviously you hovered Hookshot Cave, which rewarded you with the Turtle Rock Big Key and the Thieves Town Big Key, which gave you early Mirror, which gave you access to a lot of information that it took Wulfy a while to get to. Meanwhile, Wulfy found the lamp, which was Hookshot locked in GT. So as commentators, like when you found Thieves Town and you found the mirror, and then you found the flippers in the Turtle Rock entrance, all of that was locked behind the hookshot. So we were or either the hookshot or the lamp, which you needed the hookshot to get to. So trying to piece together that logic was really fun on our part.
I think we figured out that the way you were intended to get to Death Mountain was actually just go through Turtle Rock.
Which ironically Daaanty did, whereas Wulfy sequence broke the Old Man Cave, which was Dark Saint. He went through there without lamp.
Interesting. Yeah, like I felt really happy when when those two big keys showed up in Hookshot Cave, but I was feeling really good at that point. But as early on when Quake showed up, I thought about going to Mire and opening that up, but then I was like, I don't have a sword, and the way I play entrance, my mind just is constantly, churning back and forth, trying to think, where do I need to go next? And I put that on the back burner. So when I finally got there, that like awesome feeling of, okay, I kind of skipped the hookshot, so now we need to know where that is. At that point, I felt like, oh, hookshot was here. I'm still very behind. So, oh well, but it worked out, I guess. I got really worried about spending the pod small. I got bailed out huge. I literally...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Muscle memory, being an idiot. I don't know what happened there. It was just a small mental lapse, and of course that can be huge.
Wait, what happened with the pod key?
We just walked out a dark maze.
I bomb jumped into Dark Maze and just like muscle memory walked out, and I was like, wait, that was a stupid mistake. And luckily, I think within like a minute or two, I found the other one in like Sasha's closet.
Yeah.
But I actually never found Zahas.
Mimic Cave, I believe.
Right.
Yeah,
I was starting to think the small key and the lumberjack drop down might be a pod key.
So there's a good chance it was. Could have been Mire. My guess is Mire. So I have a question that I want to ask on behalf of our trackers. You guys allergic to map checks?
They waste a lot of time.
I was just kind of in a dungeon doing mood anyway. Like, there's sort of a crossover point when I get a few items away from go mode where I think maybe I'd like to start skipping pendant dungeons, but before that point I don't really care whether a dungeon's pendant or crystal.
fair enough. That's a reasonable response. Why you gotta be so reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like a little better to, see it on the map because, I've done the comms too, and it's like, it's nice to know where the runners need to clear, but, the way things go, it's like 9 times out of 10, you just need to, get progression. Like the Desert Palace Big showed up on Trinex, and I was debating going back to Eastern because I had put it off for so long, and I was like, well, if something major's there, I kind of feel like I'd already lost, like it would already be done, but...
Well, it led to a funny exchange between Dr. Bob and I because when, Wulfy found the ice rod, he immediately went to Turtle Rock. But before he went into Turtle Rock, he map checked. So Wulfy found ice rod. We were like, oh no, Daaanty, hard orphaned that. He's never going back there. And then he checked his map. We're like, oh, Turtle Rock's appended. Don't worry. And then the Desert Palace Big Key dropped. We're like, oh no, Daaanty needs the ice rod. He's never going to go back there.
I only really got bailed out on that just because I said, okay, I've been putting off finishing Hera. I need to do that, which worked out getting the silvers. I kind of wish I'd have done it sooner. Obviously, I wish I'd went into GT before I went into Mire to get the lamp just to make that a little quicker through the dark rooms. But yeah, the fact that there was a Hyrule Castle entrance, and I still didn't know what I needed, or if there was going to be some location that, was going to have some kind of item that I like, the Swamp Palace Small, which is what I'm, I guess, looking for at that point. And luckily that Hyrule Castle entrance was there, and I said, I'll go check that thing in the back since I've got mirror, and then I'll mirror out and go to the right. Well, that kind of worked out. It was just sheer luck that worked for me today.
Yeah, there was an interesting fork. I mean, you obviously went one path while Wulfy went the other path. But there was a moment, I think it was about when you found Hookshot Daaanty, that basically that was the moment we were going to find out who was truly in the lead. Because Wulfy at that point had a huge dungeon lead over you, but you had an item lead over Wulfy. So it was a matter of you needing to go to GT and clean up what Wulfy had already done. So GT, Skullwoods, Mire, maybe Eastern, the desert right. You needed to clean all that up before Wulfy found the hookshot. And Wulfy found the hookshot and then went immediately to Hookshot Cave, got his big keys, was pretty close after that going to Thieves Town. So ultimately he got the items he needed before you could catch up with his dungeon.
I got you. Yeah, I guess I'd say this is probably one of the best. I feel like this is the best I've played entrance, and just because I don't play it too often, but I either do decent or I just kind of last location literally everything. That's kind of I guess how it goes with a lot of people in this mode. But the fact that I knew I was playing 2 seed, and I saw the time Wulfy put up one of those qualifiers, and it was just kind of like, well, I have to play the 2 seed. This is going to be bad. I'm going to have to gamble hard. And I kind of expected to get nothing but blue rupees, big 20s, whatever in Hookshot. And I almost left that last one. And if that had been the case, I'd have left that for a long time. I'm just glad that I got it after I kind of cooled off for a second and checked that other entrance.
Yeah, coming up, playing the 2 seed, as you said, and coming up only 4 minutes behind. That's less than 4 minutes. That's pretty good. And a sub 2:15 seed. That's really good time for entrance. So yeah, both of you did an excellent job, and I applaud both of you and wish you both the best of luck in the next round. Both of you, of course, still very much alive in this tournament. Wulfy going up against Andy next round. Daaanty, I believe they said you're going against Allison.
Yeah, I looked at the bracket before we started because I was like, okay, let's see where I'm gonna be when I lose, unless I get really, really, really lucky. So I didn't, we're getting to the point even after round 1 or round 2 in this case, since I was one of the many people who had a bye. You're not gonna have easy matches, especially in cross keys. So you could be the one versus the last seed and something crazy can happen, just a sequence break you don't do. And I guess this is the full rando mode, everything is literally randomized.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of variance involved in cross keys. So, I mean, even if you lose a race, there's plenty of RNG to blame it on.
Yeah, I guess you could blame it on RNG. Same time, I think I could have made this closer. I don't think I still could have won because I don't like discredit anything in my route really. Even in hindsight, obviously it's a lot easier, but I think I played this about as well as I could, minus that whole pod screw up. But that wasn't 4 minutes, so it'd have been a little closer. But I still think the outcome would have been exactly the same, no matter what I did.
All right. So, anything else you guys would like to say before we wrap things up here today?
I think that's all for me. Just watch my match with Andy. Should be fun.
I was gonna say thank you guys doing the commentary, tracking, restreaming, all that. Greatly appreciated, and good luck in the next match, Wulfy. Go beat Andy.
Yep, and good luck to you too. Good game.
Thank you. GG.
All right. Thank you once again to both of our runners, Wulfy and Daaanty, for putting on an excellent show today. I want to thank our trackers behind the scenes. We had Norinato and HXC Jetters having control over those buttons. Of course, we had Trez come in to, put out some fires as well, so thanks to him. And of course, to my co-commentator, P-Train, who is just off the rails today, as far as commentary goes.
It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun race to commentate. I highly recommend you guys watch the VOD back. Logically, it was really fun to piece together.
And with that, I will just say that I have been Dr. Bobtastic. I'm sure if you liked what you saw here today, anybody here involved would appreciate a follow here on Twitch. That's a great way to support these people. And other than that, make sure to follow Zelda Speedruns for all your cross keys needs, as well as other rando shenanigans and, actual speedruns. And, yeah. So unless our administration staff has anything they want to say before we wrap it up, I will just say that I've been Dr. Bobtastic, and I'll see you later.